Hello friends, Valerie here with the Great Lakes Road Trip Mystery Knit Along Stitch Tutorial for leg 6. And in leg 6 we're going to be doing this really pretty cross stitch, and we have a 8 stitch cross, and there's also a 4 stitch cross. So I want to show you a couple things about this. First of all, you'll notice that these 2 rows here, that's what makes this up, are pretty tall. And because of that, we need to do some short rows at the edges to make sure that there's enough height to really let those cross stitches shine. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do both the stitches, and I'm also going to show you how to deal with increasing over here at the edge when we're in the midst of one of these short row deals. So let's go. Let's first take a look at the chart, because I want you to see what it looks like on the chart when we're talking about these short rows. So here you'll see all this gray space, and that gray space, according to the key, is no stitch. So what happens is we're going to knit our first 2 stitches, turn around and purl back the next 2 stitches, so that's gone up to row 2, and then for row 3 we're going to knit the 2 stitches and continue across the row. When we get to the end of the gray boxes, we're going to come back down to the row 1 on the chart, and we're going to work our way across here, come back across row 2, and then finish out row 3. And that will give us the extra height we need on the edges to accommodate the stitches on the next row. All right. So I have my swatch, and I'm going to start by doing the short rows. So like I just showed you on the chart, it's real easy. We're going to knit 2 stitches, turn our work, purl 2 stitches to go back to the edge, turn the work, and now I can do all of row 3. I'm going to knit 2, and now I'm going to start the cross stitch pattern. Now the first cross stitch pattern I'm going to do is the 4 stitch cross, or I think in the pattern it's called cross 4 stitch. So first thing I need to do is knit 4 stitches with 2 wraps each. So I'm going to wrap twice around, and I'm going to do that 4 times. Okay, so that is my setup for the cross 4 stitch. Now I'm going to work on the setup for the cross 8 stitch. This requires 3 wraps. So now I'm going to knit 8 stitches with 3 wraps each and place a marker. If you're doing the larger set, you will appreciate it later. Okay, so I've done my 8 stitches, and now I'm to the edge. And in this case, I just want to show you how we're going to do the short rows at the edge, but I'm also going to do a make one, because a lot of times when you're on this pattern row, you need to do a make one left. And then I'm going to knit to the end, and I'm going to now turn around and go back, because we've got to do the short rows on this side too. So I slip 1, knit 2. In this case, if you had an edge marker, you would move the edge marker, and then I am going to knit that make one that I just made. okay, because it doesn't have the same height. It's part of the short rows. And now I'm just going to turn around and go back, knit my way back. And this finishes out row 3. So if you have any questions about this as you're working on the chart, you can refer to the written directions. I wanted to include written directions to really explicitly write out how to deal with these ends. And you'll notice in the pattern that it says rows 1 to 3 and rows 11 to 13. They're grouped together because really rows 1 to 3, rows 1 and 2 are just those short rows. There's not anything for the bulk of the row. Okay, so now let's turn around and go back and we'll actually make the cross. That's the fun part. All right, so we're going to work our edge stitches with our favorite. Slip 1, knit 2, move the edge marker, and knit that next stitch. And now we're ready to make the cross. So what you want to do is you want to slip the first 4 stitches off your needle, and you want to drop the extra loops. So here I've worked the tip of my needle under the legs of the first 4 stitches, and voila. And there are all those extra loops. That's my first group of 4. And then I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I've got 8 very tall stitches. I'm going to use the tip of my left hand needle to go get the first group of 4. And I'm going to lift them up and over the second group of 4. And as I do that, I'm being careful to make sure those stitches stay in the same order, right? They're not twisted or lumped up. And now I'm going to slip the second group of 4 stitches to the other needle. And now all I have to do is knit. So I'm going to knit 8. And that is the first cross 8 stitch. For the cross 4 stitch, that's what we're going to do next. It's very similar. Oops. This time we're going to do groups of 2. So I'm going to slip the first 2 stitches off and drop those extra wraps. Then I'm going to slip the next 2 stitches off and drop those extra wraps. Then I'm going to take the first group and pull them up and over the second group. So I've reversed the order, but I've kept the individual stitches in each group in their original order, and slipped group 2 back, knit 1, knit 2, knit 3 and 4, and that gave us the cross 4 stitch. And then the last bit, I'm just going to knit 1 stitch and purl for the edge. So now when I turn this around, you'll see that I have my cross 4 here at the edge, and then I have my cross 8. It looks a little funny when it's still on the needle. After you work your rows of garter, they'll start to bend and it relaxes the stitches a little bit and they settle down. But when it's the first row or 2 after you've done it, it just kind of looks a little funky, but trust me, it'll look great in the end. I hope you have fun with this clue. Happy knitting!